When I first started with JCB, my first ever JCB was the JCB 3C Mark II, which we've got in the videos. So today we're at the birthplace where it was built and where they still make them to this day. Colour scheme has changed, but the principle is exactly the same. Now this is the badged up as the 750,000th 3CX, which if that's the case, that's an incredible amount of machines. We're upstairs in the JCB Visitor Centre where they have a unique display of the history of JCB, the machines where they started, the Fortune Motor backhoe loader, JCB 3C. Now, this stands right in the middle of the display. The JCB 3C Mark III, 1977. Now, we've got our JCB 3C Mark II, 1977, and I'm guessing this is the condition we need to try and get ours into. Now, we have been speaking to someone at JCB about helping us with our restoration, but this is the level of detail this has gone to is second to none, and this is well worth a visit. If you've got an interest in machinery, this is definitely a good place to come and visit. Major loader. JCB's buying Fortune Motor tractors, the front loader, and then they designed the Hector, which is the very first of the backhoe loaders. I'm sure you had big arms at the end of the day driving that, and the steering on that loader at the front, but then it's probably better than digging a hole with a shovel. So certainly that was a predecessor to what followed. The 3C, 1961. I believe underneath there they had Leyland skid units and then went on to Fordson skid units all the other way around. I'm not quite sure, but I know there was a shortage of Ford. And then
I think it went Leyland then Ford, didn't it? Because they were fed up with Leyland striking.
So this is the early version of the 3CX. The downside of it, there's no door.
Yeah.
Again, people didn't moan those. I've had people driving in the past moan about, the air conditioner's packed up, I can't drive this machine. Drivers were different in those days. They were different in those days. But what machine is far ahead of its time. Over here is the commemorative 3CX. Forgive me if I get one of these details wrong, but they've gone back to the original colour scheme of how the 3C Mark IIs and the 3C Mark IIIs were produced, which is the red wheels, the white cab, the yellows, and the red buckets. So a very nice touch. I think there's only a certain amount of these made. I'm not quite sure the number. Too good to put to work, aren't they? They need to be preserved. I'm sure one day in time these will be very collectible. This machine actually, I'll show you through the window. It's got the servo controls on the arms. So very similar driving in theory to a 360 excavator, with the controls on the seat, and they would spin around with you. Now, another thing we always used to do, every time we used to buy a new JCB Sightmaster, they always used to come with the legs, the lights on the rear jack legs, and we always found that was they would end up getting broken. Now you can see the modern day one here has been heavily fortified with some very quite serious edge plate, but what we used to do, we used to have them moved into here. So when JCB stopped producing the 3C Mark II, and they moved on to the Sightmaster. Now this is a very early Sightmaster. It's what they class as a white cab model. They came with a white cab. Most of them were two-wheel drive, as you see here. Now the strange thing with a two-wheel drive excavator is that when you fill the front bucket up with soil, you're actually lifting the weight off of the back wheels. So it made it, a little bit less traction. Compared to the 3C Mark III, these had an opening door, a step, and were a lot easier to climb out from. A real step forward in luxury. Here is a very early Sightmaster, but the concept is still very, very much the same. This one's got extra dig. The later 3C3s had extra dig. where this is actually telescopic for further reach. Quite a tidy example considering the age of that excavator. And I wonder where in the world this one's going to end up. Now, as 3CX has progressed, the cab's changed from the white to the black cab, and the all glass door, which was on them for quite some time. Again, still producing a lot of two-wheel drives. You certainly don't see many two-wheel drives anymore, not in this country. I believe in India they're more popular, but certainly not in the UK. Very few two-wheel drive in the UK. The back axle changed. As you can see there, the back axle is slightly longer at the top there on the Ram. That didn't stay for very long. That was a very short modification there. If you went from the white cab, it hasn't got it. This early black cab, it has. That didn't stay very long. And if you notice, just as part of the video of the lights are mounted up here by the top of the jack leg, as opposed to being down there, which they moved them to later on. So from the black cabs we went to the grey cabs, and as you see now here, this is I think an 88 machine, four-wheel drive. Changed the chassis there to accommodate the turning of the bigger tyre. The back axle has changed, it's been reduced at the top there, and this is one of the very last with the 8-stud rear axle. Not very exciting, but they changed from an 8-stud to a 5-stud on I think about 1989. What I appreciate JCB certainly is the inspiration and the backbone behind the backhoe loader. Most other manufacturers who have a New Holland one here have copied the same format. We've got New Holland here, and Case was a very popular model. Case had a 580, they did a 580 range, which was like an F and a G. Same format. Still plenty around today. I think we should have one for doing the garden, you know.
So why would you have a 3CX as opposed to a digger?
When these were first brought out, mini diggers never really existed. You either had your Hymac or your JCB 805, the large excavators, and you'd have a Sightmaster or 3C. There wasn't really mini excavators like there is today. So this was the machine for roadworks. Every house. I mean, when I was driving them, it was on housing development work and industrial. It was a versatile machine. You dig trenches, you could load lorries, and even before the early telehandlers, you had forks on the front bucket there, which flipped over. So on site, we were the dumper for carrying gear. We had the forks for unload lorries and help with bricklayers, and with the digger to dig drains, footings. So these were a very, very versatile machine, but the mini excavator hadn't really been developed and existed at that point.
Okay.
That's why now 3CXs are actually dying out on most construction sites, or not as popular, because people want a mini digger. And because the lever patterns in these are on a diagonal, and its 3.6s are on a straight cross pattern fit, it's very hard to find a driver to drive these machines anymore. That's why they have moved The ones at the factory there had levers on the arms to try to give those drivers that opportunity to drive more of these. But that was a different. You very rarely find that a 360 operator would jump in a 3CX and drive it because of the difference in the lever patterns. And here are two Cat versions. These are 426s. The most popular one that I used to know was a Cat 428. So maybe the model numbers have moved on. Again, very similar format to the 3CX. And now we come up to sort of the current age of the 3CX. Here we have one of the latest models. Very similar in spec though. Still got the 5-stud rear axles. Same format. They've got a sprung seat as standard. But what a machine. What a great piece of machine. They've grown a bit in size as well. They seem to be a little bit bigger. Technology's moved on an awful lot with them as well. But I'm still very passionate about JCB 3CX, and we'll definitely have some more ourselves. So I'm going to give a try this one out. 2 steps now rather than the one. So I think it's maybe made for older people like me now. Now, while we're next to the 3CX Sightmaster here we have the 3CX Compact, which basically is a shrunk version of that. A lot of times these were used by, years ago they used to look at a 2CX with a, for like the tarmacking profession, where you had a compressor on the back and the front loader. Then they sort of moved it on a bit and put a back axle on the rear of it. So, lovely machine, lovely little machine. That's more than my height to get into these days as I get older. What a lovely machine. I certainly do have a passion for JCB 3CXs. I've owned and operated a huge amount of them in my time. And yeah, nice machine, nice machine. Thank you very much for watching my short video on JCB 3CXs. Sorry it's only a short video, and sorry we can't cover all the evolution of these machines. But the machines are very close to my heart, having spent a lot of my youth or younger years in business driving them. So thanks for watching. Please click and subscribe in the box below for future videos, and we'll see you again soon hopefully. Thank you.